Hello everyone, my name is Anahita Rashidfarokhi. I'm a postdoc researcher in the University of Helsinki, and together with Professor Erik Andersson, we are presenting this slides, which is about a systemic assessment of ecosystem services accessibility. This is part of work package 2. And the first task, which is about overview and synthesis of systemic urban greening frameworks, which is led by University of Helsinki. But the first question is, of course, what do we want from the urban nature planning? We all strive for greener cities, but what is the ultimate goal of urban naturing? Urban green spaces should provide tangible and intangible benefits. On the other hand, protecting and supporting urban biodiversity is another crucial aspect of urban naturing. Therefore, it's essential to ensure that services provided by nature translate into benefits for urban inhabitants, including both human and non-human species. Of course, the services that we achieve are based on nature, but nature, green and blue infrastructure are not enough. Achieving the desired outcomes from urban nature depends on various factors that can either facilitate the realization of benefits or suppress and restrict them. There are many behind-the-scenes factors or context that can enable, promote, or suppress and restrict these ecosystem services. We will explore these contexts further to understand how they influence the effectiveness of urban naturing and its functionality. Creating successful urban naturing plans, or as we call them UMPs, requires considering a broader range of factors beyond only the ecological elements. This is actually a systemic approach that advocates for understanding the conditions under which ecosystem services can translate into benefits for all beneficiaries. As we can see in the picture, the green and blue infrastructure components and processes provide the potential ecosystem services, which needs to be mobilized and realized to benefits to be delivered to the beneficiaries. This process is actually happening through the planning and governance. And the context or factors that can affect this are called filters or context. And based on the previous literature, we found that infrastructure, institutions, and perceptions are the contextual factors that can affect this process of realization. However, based on the research that we had in the UMP Plus project, we found that finance has also a very high-level role in the planning, governance, and management of the green spaces. So that's why in the presented framework, we included finance as the fourth filter or context. There are three critical factors for successful UMPs. The first one is the realization of benefits. UMPs should prioritize delivering tangible and intangible benefits to both human and non-human urban inhabitants, addressing their needs and enhancing their quality of life. On the other hand, long-term resilience of green infrastructure is an important factor that should be considered in the planning process. Planning for the ongoing maintenance and adaptability of green spaces is vital to ensure their continued functionality and contribution to the society. In addition, flexibility to adapt to changing needs plays a very crucial role in this process. UMPs need to anticipate future challenges such as climate change or population growth and be designed with the flexibility to accommodate these evolving and ongoing changes that the societies are experiencing. Therefore, to address this systematic assessment need, we developed a framework which provides a structured approach to understanding and navigating the complexities of the urban nature planning implementation. The framework echoes the need for a systemic and context-sensitive approach for improving the flow and equitable distribution of benefits from green and blue infrastructure. The core functions of the framework are actually built upon two things. The first one is identifying and overcoming barriers. The framework assists in systemic understanding of barriers and challenges to urban nature planning implementation. On the other hand, it helps to assess the conditions for realization of ecosystem services benefits systematically. It provides a method for analyzing the interplay of various factors and how they contribute to or hinder the delivery of benefits from urban nature. As I already explained in the previous slides, we divided this enabling or disabling context to four categories: institutions, finance, infrastructure, and perceptions. Institutions play a crucial role in shaping how urban nature is managed and accessed. They define ownership rights, responsibilities, and community participation in decision-making processes. On the other hand, finance secures and adequate financial resources, which are essential for implementing the plans, maintaining the green spaces, and ensuring the long-term resilience of the green infrastructure, especially for elements that require intensive management. On the other hand, infrastructure encompasses not only the green and blue infrastructure spaces, but also gray and technological infrastructure. These can include, for example, the transportation networks, buildings, and other built elements. And we need to consider them as an integrated system. Infrastructure influences spatial dynamics, connect resources, mitigate negative externalities, facilitate accessibility, and integrate different type of infrastructure for enhanced functionality. Finally, perceptions as the fourth factor. People's perceptions, shaped by their culture, age, gender, socioeconomic status, and of course personal experiences, significantly influence how they value and interact with nature. These perceptions play a crucial role in determining which benefits are recognized. To be able to use this framework and test it in practice, we developed the urban nature ecosystem services bundles and try to examine how different factors enable or disable their realization to benefits. We developed 6 bundles, including the provisioning services, for example, the production of food, the supply of water, and also the provision of raw materials and their management. The second category, climate resilience, which is considering the stormwater management and flood control, the urban heat islands reduction or cooling of the climate, adaptation to drought, and also the carbon sequestration. The third category is looking at social sustainability related services. This includes the mental and physical well-being or increased quality of life, the socio-environmental justice, sense of place, green space accessibility or reduce inequalities in accessing green spaces, and also social inclusion and cohesion. The fourth service is cultural services, which includes the visual quality, the educational value or capacity building awareness. It also includes the spiritual, cultural, and historical resources, and finally, the recreational or physical activities. The fifth one is the economic development services, which can cover the tourism and recreation revenue, increased private or public investment, improved cost savings, improved property values, and also providing green jobs and improving the employability. And the sixth one, or finally the last ecosystem service bundle, is environmental health, which is more relevant to the biodiversity side. So this includes the biodiversity conservation, reduced air, water, and noise pollution, creation of natural habitats, pollination, pest control, waste management, soil remediation, and connectivity from the ecological point of view. So the project that I am going to talk about is previously presented by the city of Barcelona, is the case of Glories, which is initiated to address the urban density and environmental stressors such as air pollution or heat waves through urban naturing. The goals are to enhance environmental and social ecosystem services, and then they focused on three areas. So the cultural ecosystems, which includes the recreation, increasing the playgrounds, and also social spaces. The ecological ecosystem services, including retention of carbon, management of stormwater, improving the air quality, and the third goal, the social ecosystem services, which is kind of interconnected with the cultural ecosystem services, as we can see, and they are having overlaps or even synergies. So the aim from the social point of view was to provide these inclusive spaces to encourage social interaction and community building. The project has two phases. The first phase was focused on developing the urban canopy, incorporating biodiversity refuges, planting native vegetation, creating playgrounds and dog parks, and implementing sustainable urban drainage systems, or SUDS. The first phase was actually conducted in year 2020. And then in the second stage, they actually implemented some improvements in the last year, 2023, which resulted in measurable increases in the ecosystem services benefits, including expanded cycling facilities, enhanced social cohesion, increased carbon retention, and also improved mental health outcomes for urban residents. Now let's look at how the introduced 4 context or filters can be applied in this project. So if we look at the institutional framework, we see that the Barcelona Nature Plan or Natura Plan, which is, I think, began in 2021 and until 2030, served as a guiding policy document for the GLORIS project, providing an institutional framework for promoting the urban greening and equal access to green spaces. On the other hand, the finance actually is highlighted as the project demonstrates the importance of financial resources as a foundation for successful implementation and ongoing monitoring of urban greening initiatives, of course. From the infrastructure point of view, the project implemented a range of physical infrastructure elements, including biodiversity refuges, low water demand vegetation, SUDS, playgrounds, and social areas, which all designed to support and deliver the desired or kind of targeted ecosystem services benefits. Finally, the perceptions. What we see is that public perceptions and community needs were integrated into the project through participatory planning processes and also providing this inclusive design spaces and approaches through the decision-making processes. Of course, participatory approaches provides the platform to capture diverse societal demands and ensuring that urban greening initiatives align with community values. There are different ways that we can play with this context, but what we need to consider is that the role and significance of these different contexts may vary. They might have different weights in the process. We didn't go through that level yet, as this is only the introduction of the framework, but then understanding that they have this kind of different weights and roles in the implementation and management of these green spaces help us to focus on the areas that need more support, and also help us to kind of have this kind of systemic understanding of the overlaps and interconnections of these different contexts or factors. And of course, like in many cases, they also help us to understand what are the barriers that can kind of occur in certain contexts, and then help us to kind of pinpoint them and try to address them. We are coming to the end of the slides. So here we provide the concluding remarks. The framework actually, as we notice, emphasizes the importance of 4 systemic filters, including institutions, infrastructure, perceptions, and finance, in shaping how ecosystem services are delivered, accessed, and valued. Each filter, of course, plays a crucial role in enabling specific ecosystem services bundle, or then disabling them or hindering them. And as I already mentioned, the significance of their roles vary depending on the context. We also notice that there are overlaps and synergies existing between these ecosystem services bundles, particularly in areas where multiple factors are interacting. Of course, prioritizing one filter may enhance or limit the effectiveness of others. We also promote or support the collaboration and knowledge sharing across disciplines and sectors, which can address effectively the complex challenges of urban greening and achieve these holistic outcomes. And the other point that I want to highlight is that we need to remember that there are no universal solutions for UNP implementation. Each city and project has a unique context and therefore requires tailored approaches that considers the local context, challenges, opportunities. Finally, we know that there are trade-offs between the short-term goals and strategies for long-term sustainability, and these need to be considered to ensure continued flows of the ecosystem services benefits across diverse futures that we might experience. Therefore, balancing these competing priorities is crucial for achieving the resilient and equitable outcomes for all beneficiaries. I hope this presentation gave you a kind of primary understanding of this systemic framework that we have developed, and in the future we will work on this and improve it together with cities to apply it in practice. Thanks a lot for your attention.